All right, thanks, Joey. Well, top story check today in Puerto Rico. The Department of Public Safety is holding an orientation and educational fair on the various components of the department so that citizens learn about the work and services that each component performs for the benefit of communities throughout the island. Our Francis Felix reports.
As part of the activities of the Police Week, the Department of Security of Puerto Rico invites the citizens to enjoy the security fair in Plaza Las Americas with orientations, exhibitions, federal agencies, and different units of the Department of Security.
We're here at the Security Fair in Plaza Las Americas. This is going to take place from February 21st to February 27th. In this fair, you're going to be able to see different units and components of the Puerto Rico Police Departments and also federal agencies like FBI and DEA. But we also have different Puerto Rico Police Department units here like Cyber Crimes Division. We have stolen vehicles. We have FURA. We have SWAT. And it's very important for people to visit us and so they can be able to see and ask questions of different areas that the Puerto Rico Police Department works and how we tackle crime here.
Also the importance to educate citizens.
It's very important for citizens to visit us so they can ask specific questions in our booths and see different equipments. We have the bomb squad who has a replica of the equipment they use to tackle different areas. It's very important for people from all over the world and in Puerto Rico to visit us because you'll be able to see and ask questions with people who have worked with a lot of years at the Puerto Rico Police Department. We want citizens and tourists to feel safe in Puerto Rico. That's why we're giving our 100%. In fact, we're giving 110% to work with everything that has to do with crime and prevention.
If you can tell us a little bit about your work, about the SWAT team.
Yeah, Special Weapons and Tactics. So what we do is we just get that call where the regular officer on the precinct maybe cannot go that extra mile. We're there. At special occasions on the security is really alert. It's just past the red line, and we're just there to save lives.
Knowing the importance about a community help, the Department of Security seeks with this fair to have a direct contact with the citizens, listen about their worries, give education, and show the importance of their daily work. They will be here all week, and it's free for the family to come. From Plaza Las Americas, Puerto Rico, Francis Felix.
All right, thank you, Francis. In the meantime, NATO officials confirm Russia has begun attacking Ukraine. Condemnation started pouring in from leaders around the world as explosions were heard in multiple Ukrainian cities. President Biden tweeted, quote, "Russia alone is responsible for the death and destruction this attack will bring, and the United States and its allies and its partners will respond in a united and decisive way," end quote. Bradley Blackburn reports now from UN headquarters in New York.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine is now underway. Explosions were seen and heard across the country overnight. Russian President Vladimir Putin announced the start of the offensive in a pre-dawn speech. Putin said the action was necessary to protect civilians and restore order. He said Russia's goals include the, quote, demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine. Putin called on the Ukrainian military to surrender and warned other nations not to interfere. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky appeared on television as the invasion got underway. He urged people not to panic and said he had just spoken with President Biden. The White House condemned what it called an unprovoked and unjustified attack by Russia. Here at the United Nations, diplomats gathered for an emergency meeting of the Security Council. It's the Council's second emergency meeting this week on Ukraine.
We're here for one reason and one reason only, to ask Russia to stop.
During last night's session, the Ukrainian ambassador confronted his Russian counterpart.
There is no purgatory for war criminals. They go straight to hell, Ambassador.
The Security Council is expected to vote on a resolution against Russia today. However, it is unlikely to pass because, as a permanent council member, Russia holds veto power.
And meantime, oil prices are already on the rise after Russia announced it was launching a military attack in Ukraine. Overnight, U.S. crude futures jumped 5.24% to trade at $96.92 per barrel. Now, Brent crude futures were up by 5.4% at $102.07 a barrel. That's the first time since 2014 it crossed the $100 mark. Natural gas also surged at 5.39%, and the rise in oil is just another hit for consumers as inflation continues. Consumers can also expect snarls in the supply chain with wheat and grain prices going up, meaning you might be paying even more for those essentials at the grocery store. Now, Russia and Ukraine together produce more than 25% of the world's wheat exports and nearly 20% of corn exports. And switching gears now, Caricom citizens will soon benefit from significantly reduced roaming charges in border services offerings from telecommunications and service providers across the nation. This as Grenada's, is it Grenada or Grenada, Sarah? And switching gears now, Caricom citizens will soon benefit from significantly reduced roaming charges in broader service offerings from telecommunications service providers across the nation. This as Grenada's Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Mitchell, and the two major telecommunication providers signed the Declaration of St. George's towards the reduction of intra-Caricom roaming charges. The historic declaration on roaming with cable and wireless and Digicel is intended to make services more available and cheaper to consumers in member states. Now, it was sealed in St. George's, Grenada, is said to be the first step in a journey of achieving total elimination of roaming charges for Caribbean citizens. Addressing the ceremony, Prime Minister Mitchell, who has led responsibility for science and technology within the Caricom cabinet, said declaration signals the beginning of new opportunities for the acceleration of online service delivery. He sees the elimination of the unpredictable cost of roaming as a potential driver of regional development. And a 1-2 punch is being felt in the Bahamas, where a new report shows Hurricane Dorian in 2019, followed by the pandemic, has forced many small businesses to have to close their doors. Our One Caribbean News' Deandra Hamilton reports.
Hurricane Dorian and the COVID-19 pandemic have caused the shutdown of more than half of the micro, small, and medium-sized businesses in Abaco. This was revealed in a report from the United Nations Development Program, or UNDP. It revealed the double dose of the hurricane and the pandemic created an unprecedented disastrous mix on the economy of northern Bahama Islands. The report focuses on Grand Bahama and Abaco and indicates that 62.3% of the MSMEs in the two Bahama Islands were gravely affected by the hurricane and the pandemic. Of the businesses affected in Abaco, 55.2% have closed permanently. Grand Bahama showed a much better rate of rebound as less 11.6% of its businesses closed permanently. MSMEs represent 99% of the Bahamas business licenses and 18% of the country's GDP. In speaking on the report, UNDP resident representative Denise E. Antonio said, and I quote, "In times of crisis, the MSME sector must recover as quickly as possible to expedite economic recovery while ensuring the displaced and the dispossessed can survive." She added the UNDP remains committed to bolstering the resilience of this important sector as part of its crisis prevention and recovery services to the countries served in the Western Caribbean. The newly elected Davis administration has seen the report and the lingering struggle for the two islands to make a comeback. This February, the Bahamas Ministry of Tourism helped to open a $20 million ferry terminal in Abaco. Deandre Hamilton reporting.